Just again, really showcasing all the ways you don't realize accessibility can manifest, all the ways that just look at how excited we were every time there was something that's like, oh yeah, like duh, like that should be in everything. Like, why are we not there yet? Like just with all these games. And again, as we talked about, this is from indies. Like any the investment is so worth it in the end when it's going to you hear those stories of like the little girl that was finally able to play Paw Patrol after never being able to play it. Like it's just so worth it, and that's just what this show showcases. And it continually shows me games as someone who's locked in, who's someone who is very much covering a lot of games. There's still games in this show that I had no idea about that, make me excited. But any post show vibes?
Still wrapping my head around all of it, but there was a lot of really exciting stuff here. Again, I really liked that they featured, even like a game jam, like a lot of ones that we don't know, and a lot that we do too. I feel like, some of the sort of bigger indies right now, we're showing off their stuff in this, which is cool. Yeah, just like seeing all these different accessibility options that are like valuable for so many reasons. Like the one when we were talking about like the chat logs, the chat history, and stuff like that, that's such an important one. It got me thinking about this thread I saw maybe like last year on Blue Sky. Someone was talking about like how hard gaming can be sometimes since becoming a parent, and like the time between when you get to pick up a game again, like you just forget everything that you did. And so like for so many different life circumstances, like these accessibility options are so important. Disability related and just preference related, and all kinds of stuff.
So. Yeah, when you talk about preference related, I think back to there was that kind of like creature battling game that showcased how you can change the color of the moves to obviously to help you differentiate if you are colorblind. But then they were saying like you can also just categorize these moves into like attack damaging moves and like status moves and positive moves and negative moves, you know what I mean? Like you can really kind of get nitty gritty with that and really help your just gameplay. And again, it's just constantly ways that people don't realize until it's literally shown to them. And that's why the show is so important, because it's showing to people exactly what that looks like, how it manifests. Like so many of the screens here, like in Spray Paint Simulator, I remember they had a lot of side by sides of, here's what the camera smoothing looks like both ways. Here's what the FOV difference looks like both ways. Here's what the text looks like different. Like it is the kind of thing that until it's literally shown to you, you probably don't think about.
Well, yeah, like you're saying, like I'm the type of person that like can't even really visualize something different. Like I see that and I'm like, I just didn't even know that was a possibility. Like I just don't think of those things, or I'm not like knowledgeable enough about gaming to even be like, oh, like that's a feature that some games have, or that I could want.
And that's what again, like that's why the showcase matters, because you maybe one day go to a settings screen and you see all this and you don't necessarily know what any of it means. And so it's important to have this to slowly educate people. And that's what we've talked about a few years running with the accessibility showcase of it's an education thing too, of like, here's what these things do. Here's why they matter. Here's how developers are implementing it, and how, I'm sure so many developers even see this and go, oh, that's like something I took out because I didn't think anyone wanted, or you know what I mean? Like it's just so cool. Fish, we've been blabbing. Did you have any?
No, I mean, you guys kind of touched on everything, but it's just like we talked about before the show. Like it's important to hear these stories, important to see the real world, the fruits people's labors of that put in so much work into make these games accessible to everyone. Simple things like stuff that I'm not entirely, I'm not fully disabled or anything. Like, I'm just, to me, it's like just color blindness, but like the people who struggle with a lot worse things than I do. I still struggle with some things like I talked about earlier, and one of the things like just screen shake in general, motion blur, stuff that like you don't really think about as accessibility. It's just a setting in a video game, but it's still accessible because I'll get nauseous if motion blur and screen shake are in a game like too much, or stuff like Fern and I discussed, and I think it was in Gales of Nayeli, where you can like bigger indicators to differentiate friends and foes, stuff like that. Like even I struggle with that sometimes. Like you're playing a game, you're like, who are you? Who are you? Who do I need to
Do I
think of
shoot
it
you
right
or
now?
not?
I'm just shooting.
Yeah, like do I
blast,
attack or not?
hoping for the best.
And then like you guys talked about like simple things, really, oh duh, like the rhythm game, bits and bops. Like rhythm game, you know, you don't need sight to enjoy the rhythm and like hear the music or whatever it is. Something like that. Like it's simple to think about now afterwards. You're like, oh yeah, it's a rhythm game. It's easy because you can just describe what you need to do, and then you just listen to it and play along. And it's obviously with one button. It's easy. Yeah, it's always a great showcase because a lot of these things, you just don't think of them until they pop up. And I can guarantee you that hopefully a lot of devs that watch this that aren't, putting accessibility in their games too much are seeing this like, oh yeah, we should do that. Shouldn't cost too much or it shouldn't take too much work to add that. And it just proves that like for these AAA companies, or quadruple A companies, it's there. You just don't want to put in the work to do it.
Yeah. And again, the payoff, like how can any, well, a lot of executives are soulless, so but like you hear that story
of the little girl.
Yeah, and it's just like, how are we not doing everything we possibly can to make sure everyone can play this game?
And there was such like innovative stuff in here.
Yeah.
Like this is just like one of the most innovative shows. Yeah, like Sunlight with the
I was gonna say
description like adds so much to just the experience of it. Like I feel like it was implemented in so well that it's like it's so like I said, meditative. Like the whole thing just all flows together. And the one Anthropology, the like theater one,
Yeah,
the live performance one, that's so wild. That's just so out of the box in terms of like thinking about what gaming is. And like they mentioned how a lot of people with disabilities can't like access live theater venues, and so they're trying to bring that to people. And that struck a chord with me, just in terms of like we're still trying to be COVID cautious, and like we don't go out to a lot of venues anymore either, because of that. And there's just so many reasons that like it's so important.
yeah. I
My
yeah,
cat.
just
go ahead.
I was like, just to kind of bounce off of that too, is like that Anthropology one. It's like another like duh. It's like because like just between the three of us here, we love those like interactive stories, like Her Story, Telling Lies, Immortality, all those types of game. It's like it's basically an interactive like performance that we kind of decide what happens. And
So
like bringing that exact experience to more people, and kind of that theater experience is just like a no brainer at that point. It's like, oh yeah, simple, and you get to decide what happens. It's like a video game, and it's just make more art available to more people. Like how hard is that?
Yeah, Sunlight is one that I think could be a standard setter potentially. I haven't played it, but just what I see there, like the audio description stuff, like how different it is than just audio description, like the prompting and all that could be really cool. Just a great show. Shout out. And if Laura, you're still here, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the show.
amazing work.
Yeah, thank you for all the hard work, and we're excited to see the winter showcase too.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Now it is
Of course,
time.
you leave Cairn on the screen.
I'm
Right, this is I gotta go P3 real quick before
Run.
SGF.
I know. Go.
We are back.
It is subliminal marketing. I left Karen up on the screen there.